was May of 2006, Memorial Day weekend, and I was invited to be the house guest of Mrs. Maxine Pippin McNair. Now, for those of you that are not aware of who Mrs. McNair is, she is the mother of Carol Denise McNair, who was one of the 4 victims in the 1963 bombing that took place at 16th Street Baptist Church. So Cousin Maxine invited me up this particular weekend because there was a cousin that she wanted me to meet by the name of Mrs. Coleman. Of course, I didn't know who Mrs. Coleman was, but I was told that she was the granddaughter of a woman named Maddie Pippin Smith, who happened to be my great-grandmother's first cousin, a brother and sister's children. So Mrs. Coleman came over, we embraced each other, and I told her who I was, and she said she remembered my great-grandmother and her stories about Mama Ella and how we were related. And so we sat at the table and just exchanged family history and stories that we all heard from our families. So then she pulled out this blue envelope that contained pictures. So each portrait she pulled out, she identified the person on the picture, told me how they were related to each of us. And then, after she pulled all the pictures out, there was one last picture that was turned to the back. It was an old postcard picture. And she slowly pulled it out. She didn't take them out like the others. She slowly pulled it out and turned it around. And when she turned it around, it was of this man right here. Sorry, it's a little glare there. So we're all looking at the picture. I mean, my eyes got big, and a couple other cousins that were there, they were looking too. Just like, who is this man? It was like, my God, and Lord have mercy, you know. And everybody's trying to figure out who this man is. So I said, is he? And she immediately cut me off and said, yes, honey, he's white. And this is your uncle. And I'm like, my uncle? So we took the picture and we just passed it around to everybody. We were just all looking, and I said, well, what's his name? She said, I don't remember his name, but Grandma said this was her uncle. But she also said that somebody said that this was a cousin instead of an uncle. So she didn't know too much about the man, except that he lived in the Clinton community right by our family, and she had been trying to identify him for the longest. So she said, well, Scrappy, I heard that you do this type of research. Why don't you find out who the man is and tell us? And I'm saying to myself, how am I supposed to find out who he is if you don't even know what his name is? Well, I know, but you a smart young man. You can figure it out. So she let me copy the picture. I have my scanner equipment, scanned it, and I blew up the picture to an 8x10. And I'm just looking at his features, looking at the suit. I mean, he's in a suit. Seemed to be well groomed, hair not out of place. You know, I just couldn't put the picture down. I felt drawn to him, but I didn't know why. It didn't make sense. So I'm just looking at it, and I'm saying, now how am I supposed to figure out who this man is? And then Cousin Maxine said, well, aren't you going to see Aunt Rosie tomorrow? Maybe she can tell you who it is.